group. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
This week, Staples has deals.
Welcome to Lights in the Night with Russ Johnson. Join us in our never-ending quest for knowledge on extraterrestrial life, UFOs, and the beyond. Your host, Russ, will lead you on an intergalactic quest to discover alien existence and life expansion. Make sure to call in at 888-994-4995 Studio A to ask questions and get involved. And visit us online at lightsinthenight.org. Keep your eyes and ears peeled for Lights in the Night.
Okay, well, good afternoon, and thank you very much for being with us here on Lights in the Night, a podcast that's on about 6 different radio stations and covering the platform of Google and YouTube and on and on and on. So we have a guest this afternoon, and he's, well, let me say that. This person was in charge of Area 51 for more than 10 years and has a lot of information to give us, plus he's been in Hollow Earth working with a lot of other people, so we want to begin to ask him a lot of questions about all those experiences. And I have very fortunate to have Zena with me tonight, and she's going to help out. And she's an intuitive and a psychic and a clairvoyant, and she's been abducted many, many, many times, and she remembers.
I do.
So let me ask you a question before we get started. How can you remember? Most people can't remember being abducted.
I can remember, this happened to me about 15, 16 years ago. At first, I didn't realize, I thought I was dreaming, but I was lucky enough to have somebody here that kind of coached me that I had been abducted. But I was going maybe twice, 3 times a week for nearly a year. To many different planets all over the place. A lot of abductions. I don't remember them all, but the ones that I remember are as clear as if I was there yesterday.
Okay.
It's very, very clear to me. And I started drawing too. They told me to start sketching. I never sketched ever, but I started to draw what I was seeing.
Wow.
So that was validation.
And you have a show too every day.
I do. I have every Monday at 3 o'clock. It's Call Me Zena at this particular platform here at the Brooklyn Cafe. So I'm a guest on your show, so anything that you want to ask me, I'm happy to answer for you.
Right. I have some questions of you. So, Billy, thank you very much for being with us. You have both of us asking you questions. Can you tell us a little bit about Area 51? You said you were there more than 10 years. And what happened? Who's there? What kind of activity did you participate in on an ongoing basis daily?
Well, there were several files I had to read and evaluate, as well as learning how to fly a aerial ship, which was the one that Bob Lazar talked about, the sports craft. And of course, my instructor was a 3-foot tall being, big head, almond-shaped eyes, and he was my flight instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So that was quite interesting.
Right. Did many aliens come through? And when I say aliens, I'm looking at the reptilians, the Palladians, the Greys, the Nordics, the Blue Avians. How many types of aliens came through that process, that facility?
At the facility, there were several visitors from different star systems.
Uh-huh.
Several. Orions, Pleiadians, Alpha Centaurians, Arcturians.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How about the Greys? Did they visit you?
I just told you, I had a Grey for a flight instructor.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about Q, but anyway, that's all right. I didn't know he was a Grey. But that's all right.
Well, at that particular time, he was a Grey.
I'm sorry?
At that particular time, he was a Grey because he was my flight instructor.
Yes, okay. All right. And I think we're going to have him next week. He wants to talk about his experiences. Do you have any questions of him?
Well, I'm usually on the receiving end,
Yes,
but I'm very interested in what you're talking about, since I've had experience with them too. So I'm actually eager to hear what you have to say. You know, in the beginning, when I
Okay.
started to talk openly about, I wrote a book originally of my travels as it was happening and I woke up, but I was very apprehensive to come out with this, but this was 17 years ago. I'm writing another
Yeah.
book today and I'm happy to tell everybody because I
Wow.
believe that we're ready for this too. So I'm happy and very eager to hear your story.
Well, I'm not native to your planet. Well, I'm native to your planet, but not the surface of your planet.
Okay,
Um, I was born in a hollow earth.
that's where Aldo was.
Uh, your earth is not a solid sphere, you've been taught. How I ended up on your surface world was that first there was a gentleman by the name of Admiral Richard E. Byrd, Arctic Explorer, U.S. Navy Admiral. In 1947, after Project High Jump, he was sent to the Arctic to investigate an opening that had been discovered up in the Arctic. And so the person that discovered it was a bush pilot out of Point Barrow, Alaska, that was flying his aircraft and stumbled upon the opening himself. But he didn't go. He didn't fly into it. He just saw it from a high altitude. So he reported that back to his authorities, and they, in turn, told the Air Force, and then the Air Force sent Admiral Byrd up there to investigate what had been discovered. His aircraft was a DC-3 cargo aircraft. It was him, his pilot, and also a co-pilot and navigator. All the people in the aircraft saw what they were seeing. When it first started out, they were seeing colorations in the snow and ice. And then suddenly, they saw a glow in the distance. Looked like the Northern Lights, but there was also another glow combined with it. So they kept flying in that direction. And they found themselves going downward into an opening. The opening, the Earth's crust, is 800 miles thick. So, of course, they had to traverse the 800 miles around the curvature into hollow Earth. So, once he found himself inside, he was astounded by the light that was there. And he was looking at an orb sky, a sun, that wasn't moving. And the skies were clear, no clouds at all. But there was below him a valley with green foliage. And he was shocked because he couldn't figure out where he was. His compass was spinning. And he looked down and he saw a creature walking in the underbrush. He dropped his aircraft down to a lower altitude to look at it through binoculars and found it to be a woolly mammoth, elephant with hair and circular shaped tusks on it. So that was a woolly mammoth, and it just wasn't supposed to be there. But that, see,
Let me ask you something
So-
about that high jump, Operation High Jump. That
that's
was
in the
night-
Arctic. That was
Sir?
in the Antarctic. That was in the Antarctic.
And,
Right. But didn't he take many ships and many planes and try to go to the Antarctic and get them out of there? The people who are in the Antarctic, the Germans, who were in Arctic.
Well, they were under the impression that there were Germans there, but that's not what they found.
Okay.
What they found were flying disc-shaped craft that were quite formidable to them. They fired on them, on the ships. And of course, they were reflected back toward the origin of whoever fired at them.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the ships were destroyed
Okay.
from the projectiles that bounced off of the ships bounced back to the ships that hit it.
Right.
It was kind of strange. Anyway,
Zena,
didn't-
do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, I actually have a question about Antarctica because
Go ahead, please.
my question to you, and I know a little bit about there, I didn't actually travel there, but there are many, many groups of people there as far as I know. But also with the hollow earth, my guide Aldo, he used to call it the inner earth. So I know quite a little bit about there. There again, I didn't go, but I went to many other different planets, but I know about, which now I realize you're
The-
calling the hollow earth.
The
I had a-
hollow earth
my-
is different from the inner earth.
Oh, it is? Okay. There I'm not
Yes.
too familiar. But I had a
In the
guide
earth-
here that...
Okay. In the inner earth, that's in the crust of the planet. That's not
Okay.
in the hollow of the planet.
Oh, okay. Although my
So there is a-
terminology for it might be slightly wrong, I'm not sure.
So there is a difference between the inner earth and hollow earth.
Okay.
The inner earth are the cities that are located within the earth's crust, within the 800-mile radius of the earth's crust. The hollow earth is in the center of the earth, and you have the core of your planet is not a molten core. It is a central sun that is 600 miles across. And it shines to the inner surface of the earth, where it is in agreement with life in the inside.
Here's another big question. I want to talk about Area 51. Did you go to S4 or Grooms Lake?
S4 is a subsidiary of Area 51.
Right. Okay. So did you ever visit either of those locations, S4 or Grooms Lake? Because you said you were
Of
in
course,
charge.
it was part of the Area 51 complex.
Certainly. My question is, having spent 10, 12 years at Area 51 as a commander in charge of the whole facility, why did you decide to leave?
Why did I decide to leave?
Yes.
Well, if I tell you why I decided to leave, it's going to open up a whole new can of worms.
Okay, well, we got only a few minutes. What do you got, about 15 minutes? So let's take just a couple of minutes because I have some other questions for you.
Okay. The reason I left Area 51 and asked for a transfer to another base is because I discovered what the scientists were doing on level 26.
Mm-hmm.
Level 26 was where they were doing tests on children.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the milk carton kids, crib death children that were taken from the hospital, taken to the facility and tested to find out why and how they had capabilities far beyond their understanding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You think they were
The children-
hybrids? Were they
No, not
hybrid?
hybrid.
No.
I'm talking about regular Earth children.
Uh-huh.
They had capabilities of telepathy, of clairvoyance, of what you call moving objects with their minds. And
Psychokinesis.
yeah,
Yeah.
telekinesis. So they had the ability to move objects with their minds. And when the government found out about this, they were alarmed. And the children that they had tested, after they got the results, they put them to death.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
They killed them.
Okay. So you decided to leave.
Yeah.
But when
So
you came,
I asked for a transfer
but
to a
when you
different
came
base.
out, you started talking about what was there, and did you get some pushback on that?
I got a lot of pushback on that.
What happened? Briefly.
Well, briefly, after I got got dismissed from Area 51, I got transferred to another base, and I was talking to a group of people about Area 51, and my superiors told me to cease and desist from talking about it. And of course, I said, I'm going to talk about it no matter what, and there's nothing to do about it. Of course, they did attempt to do something about it, but they weren't able to do anything about it due to the fact of my origin. However, I was warned at gunpoint to stop talking about my experiences. And they went so far as to pull the trigger on me, and nothing happened.
Yeah, you told me that. So they shot him, but he didn't die. They wouldn't.
Yeah, no,
No,
I
nothing.
see that.
It
Is that
did
right?
not
Yeah,
discharge.
You see it?
because, yes,
The
I
weapon
do.
didn't discharge.
Because he was able somehow to stop it. Or there was. I just want to thank you. I just met you now, but thank you so much for speaking out, because I am ready to talk about my story
Very
today.
excellent.
And I want to thank you. I, as one person, are thanking you very much, because it's so needed to have this information. It's so important today. Whether people believe it or not, we're getting it out there, and that's what it's meant to happen.
Of course.
But that was about 20 years ago that you left Area 51, about that? Something like 30
Probably
years ago?
longer than that now.
Longer than that, okay. So back in that day, people who had the clearance above top secret and beyond, if you were to speak up at that point in time, they would eradicate you.
Yes, I mean,
eliminate
many
you.
things that I'm learning today also, because people are coming out with more. It's not just the information that I've received, that it's becoming, it's not acceptable yet, but
it's
it's
getting there.
acceptable, it's getting there. By the
Gaia.
people that, as myself, who have experienced
Sure.
this, I'm just delighted that so much is happening. I'm ready to answer any questions that anybody wants to ask me, and I hope many other people that have had similar
Why
experiences
do you think
will
they
do.
abducted you so many times? 3 times
Well,
a week for a year?
Well, yes, but I was astral projecting too with them. So they were taking me to many different planets. A couple of planets in particular,
Okay.
which apparently at that time, and I was told in one of my travels that it was very top secret. I had someone here on Earth that understood all this,
Okay.
who was from what he called the inner Earth, and he was my friend for 18 years till he passed away, who explained a lot of what was happening to me. So I wasn't completely on my own at that point.
Billy, can you talk about Solar Warden, the Secret Space Force?
What?
Solar Warden, you know anything about that?
I know, but what got my interest is the space program, the
Right.
secret space program. If that's,
Yeah.
I feel that that's connected.
It is.
Okay, yes, it is.
It is.
I absolutely, I can't hear enough about this, because I can relate to a lot of this too.
Did you know about that? People on Mars, they working on the moon,
On the
working?
moon, yes. How they
They're
cloak
working
the moon.
inside of Mars, not on
Okay.
the
Oh,
surface.
inside.
Okay,
Okay.
that's right.
Understand, Mars is not the way you've been taught it is.
Uh-huh.
Mars has a blue sky. Mars has an atmosphere that you can walk on the surface without any oxygen tanks.
Wow. So listen, I see the clock is at 8:23, so we could go on for a couple of hours, but we have only about 3 minutes. So what other questions would you ask of Billy?
My question is, well, basically, it's on the moon. But I know on the other side of the moon, as far as what I've been able to see or also heard, that it is cloaked. So we're not able to actually see the other side of the moon. But I have a tremendous interest in all
Oh,
of
they've
this.
taken pictures of the other side of the moon,
Okay.
but what they took pictures of shocked them.
Okay.
What do you
They
think?
saw buildings, they saw domes,
Yeah.
and they saw
right?
buildings,
Is
and
that
they saw aeroships. So, yeah, they're kind of upset about that.
Edgar Mitchell, who landed on the moon, when he came back, he said that there were a lot of spaceships on the moon with a lot of reptilians were standing below the spaceships.
Right.
So did you see that?
I actually no, but my friend who knew a lot about this was explaining a lot to me.
Okay.
And then I did on my travels. I was not only taken, I was able to go to these places because I was astral projecting. He actually told me, because he understood a lot,
Right.
that I could actually say to myself without the vehicle that I could get there. So I saw other planets, but I was mainly with people, aliens, that took me in their spacecraft.
How about the 20 and Back program, Billy?
Oh,
Can
my
you talk,
God.
You know about the 20
Yes,
and Back?
I absolutely do. I am
explain that
so-
for people.
It's very complicated. That would
I know
take
it
a whole
is.
new show, but I
I-
do know a lot about it because my interest is very much with that.
Oh, I see.
I am now beginning to understand that 20 and Back.
Oh,
because
can you
they
take a
bring
minute?
what got me, and for people that may not know, and I know that you would know about this, what really got my interest is how do they bring you back? And you are exactly where you
That's
were
true.
before you left.
That's true.
But I'm getting answers on that today because I'm getting very inquisitive about
Okay,
that.
and then the people who have participated in the 20 and Back program, right?
Yes.
Could maybe 60 years, let's assume, and they look like they're
Okay,
40.
but they're bringing you back, and this is complicated, it's another show.
Okay.
But they're bringing you back into a body that now they are able to bring that body that was there, as far as I know, and I'm not an expert on this, it's just what I know, has disintegrated. So they're bringing you back
I see.
into another body. I actually had a change myself, which is part of my story, because what
Wow.
happened to me, I came back, I passed, so to speak. It was an out of body, it's easy to say. I think I came back in a very similar body, but not the same body.
Well, a lot of
So,
information is out there.
I
Michael Seller has some great books out there.
I mean, it's well-known people, right?
Oh
that are
yeah,
talking about this, yes.
Yeah, and David Wilcock.
Oh, yeah.
So I have about a minute. So, Billy, next week we want to bring Q. Could you take a minute, 60 seconds, and talk about who Q is, please? 60 seconds. That's all we have.
Well, to put it simply, Q is source.
Okay. Source.
That's interesting.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, that's saying a lot.
And when you say source, you mean the creator of the universe?
No.
No?
Source is on as far as the earth goes, source has been Buddha, has been Krishna, has been Yeshua,
Okay.
has been several others.
Jesus,
Muhammad?
the Zoroaster.
Yes.
Okay. all
He
of
can
the
be
above.
in multiple.
Mohammed. Okay. So I got to wrap up. Listen, Billy, what is your website so people can get more information from you? What is your web-
ZoraofHollowEarth.com.
Solar. Okay.
Zora
What is your
of
website?
Hollow.
It's at the
.com.
moment, I'm actually in the process of changing it. It's artbysallybernard.com.
Okay. Art by Sally. Well,
Because I've been able to draw a lot of what I've actually seen, and I
this
brought
is
it back
exciting.
here.
This is a lot of information. So, listen.
Art by what?
Sally Bernard, B-A-R-N-A-R-D.
Sally Bernard.
SallyBernard.com.
Okay. So next week, same time, same place, right here on lightsinthenight.org. Thank you, Sally, for being here.
Thank you very
I
much
really
for
appreciate
having
it.
me
Thank
on
you,
your
Billy,
show.
for being here. Thank you for being on the program.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Nice
sir.
to have met you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
You've been listening to Lights in the Night. Be sure to catch us every Monday at 8 p.m.
That
Eastern.
was
If you
scattered.
missed a show, be sure to head to our Facebook page, Lights in the Night with Russ Johnson. You can find us on all social media platforms and our website at lightsinthenight.org. We will see you next week, and as always, keep your eyes and ears peeled for Lights in the Night.